Hey, let me hit you with something that doesn't make the news ticker but affects all of us every single day. Grocery prices have jumped 22% in just the past 6 months. That's brutal, but here's the scarier part. Last month, 3 major U.S. cities saw empty shelves and closed stores after a trucking strike collapsed supply chains. People weren't calmly shopping. They were fighting over the last bags of chicken and rice. Now, I'm not telling you this to scare you. But I need you to understand, researchers at places like the New England Complex Systems Institute have proven that when food prices pass a certain point, social unrest follows like clockwork. And here's the kicker, we passed that threshold back in July. Think about it. 30% of all global food gets lost or wasted before it even reaches our plates. Add in one bad harvest, a spike in fuel prices, or another shipping crisis, and things unravel fast. That's why I want to share 7 practical essentials you need to grab right now. Not the bunker prepper, 10 years of powdered milk kind of stuff. These are realistic, affordable items that make you self-sufficient when everyone else is panicking. Stick with me until the end, because I'll also reveal the biggest mistake most people make when preparing, the mistake that leaves them vulnerable even if their pantry is full. Let's dive in before it's too late. 1. Long shelf-life protein sources. A lot of people think they're prepared because they've got a stack of ramen noodles or a few cans of soup. But let me tell you about Lisa from Portland. Last winter, storms knocked out power in her neighborhood for 9 straight days. By day 3, she was exhausted, foggy-headed, and couldn't think straight. The problem wasn't calories. It was protein deficiency. See, your body can limp along without carbs for a bit, but without enough protein, your energy, focus, and decision-making collapse. In an emergency, that's the last thing you want. Here's the shocking truth, the average American household only has enough protein for 3 or 4 days. And protein-rich foods are usually the first to vanish from shelves when panic buying begins. So what do you actually stock up on? Canned sardines and mackerel. I know, not gourmet. But they're loaded with complete proteins and healthy fats. They last up to 5 years without refrigeration. And with fish prices forecasted to rise another 15% next quarter, they're a solid buy now item. Freeze-dried meat. This isn't the mystery jerky of the past. Modern companies like Mountain House and ReadyWise use tech that preserves 97% of nutrients and gives you a 25-year shelf life. You'll pay more upfront, but think of it as an edible insurance policy. Beans and lentils. My personal favorite. Cheap, space-efficient, and practically immortal when stored right. A single 5-gallon bucket of pinto beans, about $35, contains nearly 29,000 calories and 1,800 grams of protein, enough to feed one person for a full month. Here's a hack most people don't know. Add oxygen absorbers when storing beans, and they'll cook in half the time. That means less fuel, less stress, and faster meals when it counts. Remember Seattle's grocery lockdowns last winter? The people who had protein reserves weren't just fed. They were the ones who stayed clear-headed enough to make good decisions. Don't underestimate this. 2. Water filtration and storage. Food matters. But water? That's life or death. You can go 3 weeks without food but only 3 days without water. And in every crisis, bottled water is the first thing gone. Take Dallas last spring. Power outages shut down water treatment plants. Within hours, literally hours, every bottle of water in a 50-mile radius was sold out. People were melting snow in bathtubs and drinking from puddles. Scary fact, according to the National Water Resources Institute, nearly 60% of Americans would lose access to clean water if municipal systems went down for more than 72 hours. Meanwhile, average grid restoration time after major disasters is now 7 to 10 days. You've got 2 main solutions. Portable filters. A LifeStraw Flex Pro costs about $49, removes bacteria, parasites, and even some viruses, and lets you safely drink from a mud puddle. Toss one in your bag, no excuses. Home systems. Gravity-fed units like the Berkey or AquaTrue Connect are pricier, $250 to $350, but can filter thousands of gallons without power. That's clean water for your family for months. But here's what most preppers miss: you still need storage. Collapsible 5-gallon containers are lifesavers, easy to stash, quick to fill. And don't skip the Water Bob, a $30 bathtub liner that holds 100 gallons. Bottom line, clean water is more than survival. It's the difference between maintaining dignity and health or descending into chaos. 3. Shelf-stable carbohydrates. Protein and water are vital, but your body runs on energy, carbs. And without them, your focus, mood, and stamina crash. My friend Jake in Texas learned this the hard way during a winter blackout. By day 3, he was weak, irritable, and foggy. He had protein but no quick-burning carbs. Here's the science: your brain needs about 130 grams of carbs a day to function. Without them, you're trying to think straight with the lights off. So stock these carb champions. White rice. Forget brown rice. Its oils turn rancid in 6 months. White rice, stored properly, lasts 25 to 30 years. Archaeologists have literally found edible rice decades old. Dried pasta. Dense, calorie-rich, and compact. One package fuels thousands of calories. With global wheat production down 17%, pasta shortages are a real risk. Honey. Pure honey never spoils. Archaeologists found 3,000-year-old honey in Egyptian tombs, still edible. Each spoonful is fast energy and natural medicine. Now, here's where most people screw up: storage. Original packaging? Garbage. It's designed to fail. Instead, use food-grade buckets with Gamma Seal lids plus oxygen absorbers. That's how you turn 6 months of shelf life into decades. And don't just stash food, rotate it. Use the 3-bucket system: 1 active, 1 midterm, and 1 long-term. Every 6 months, move each up a level and refill the long-term bucket. That way, your supplies are always fresh. Pro tip: practice cooking these foods without modern tools. Rice over a fire isn't the same as rice in a rice cooker. Don't wait until you're desperate to learn. 4. Medications and first aid supplies. Here's the nightmare scenario: you've got food and water covered, but then a family member needs medication. And the pharmacy is empty. That's exactly what happened to my neighbor Mark during last year's ice storm. 9 days without power. Plenty of supplies. But at 2 a.m., he was pounding on my door, desperate for his daughter's asthma meds. Right now, the healthcare supply chain is fragile. Over 60% of essential medications experienced shortages in the last quarter alone. Basics like antibiotics, insulin, and even children's pain relievers. So, what should you do? Prescription meds. If you rely on them, push for a 90-day supply. Ask your doctor about an emergency script you can pay out of pocket for. Costly? Maybe. Worth it? Absolutely. Over-the-counter essentials. Stock smaller sealed bottles of ibuprofen, acetaminophen, antihistamines, cetirizine lasts longest, antidiarrheals, and electrolyte powders. Serious first aid. Don't settle for those flimsy drugstore kits. Get wound closure supplies, hydrogel burn dressings, splints, trauma gear, and hemostatic gauze. And here's one life-saving tip: keep a medical reference guide like the Survival Medicine Handbook. When the internet's down, you can't Google how to treat shock. The CDC estimates 40% of emergency room visits during disasters could be handled at home with proper supplies. Be ready for that. 5. Tools for self-sufficiency. This one's overlooked. But when the lights go out, tools decide whether you cope or crumble. Remember my Denver friend? 9 days without power. His biggest frustration wasn't the cold, it was realizing he couldn't even open a can of beans without his electric opener. You need tools that work when the grid doesn't. Manual can opener. Simple, but essential. Get a sturdy one, not the dollar store junk. Off-grid cooking. Portable butane stoves are under $30 and safe indoors with ventilation. Fuel lasts hours. Water processing backup. If you can't boil, you still need safe water. Gravity-fed filters solve that. Security basics. Door jammers, window locks, even a baseball bat. Human desperation is real in shortages. Solar lights. Affordable inflatable lanterns now provide 12+ hours of light and recharge in cloudy weather. Manual kitchen gear. Hand crank grinders, food processors, sharp knives. Good meals keep morale high when survival fatigue sets in. The Department of Energy says outages are up 64% compared to 5 years ago. Don't wait to learn that the hard way. 6. Seeds and growing supplies. Here's where survival turns into self-sufficiency. During food shortages in Minneapolis, seeds sold out in 48 hours. People paid $50 for packets that normally cost $4. Why? Because seeds aren't just food, they're food multipliers. A single seed becomes dozens of meals. But don't grab random packets. Focus on fast growers, radishes, 21 days, lettuce, 30 days, spinach, and spring onions. Nutrient powerhouses, microgreens, 40x more nutrients, ready in 7 to 14 days. Reliable staples, kale, bush beans, zucchini, cherry tomatoes, and sprouts, grown in jars indoors. If you live in a small space, use containers, buckets, or vertical gardening. A 10 by 10 balcony can grow 20% of your annual veggies. Important, buy heirloom, open-pollinated seeds, not hybrids. That way, you can save seeds for next year and create a renewable food source. Add basic organic fertilizer to boost yields by up to 35% and consider DIY cold frames to extend your growing season through winter. Seeds are cheap now. They won't stay that way. 7. Communication and information tools. Finally, let's talk about something most people never consider: staying informed. During Baltimore's blackout, my buddy Jake's family was cut off for 6 days. No internet. No cell towers. His neighbors chased rumors about food drop-offs that didn't exist. Meanwhile, Jake knew exactly where to go because of his emergency radio. Information was the difference between eating and going hungry. Here's what you need. Hand crank emergency radio. Models like the Midland ER310 pick up NOAA alerts, run without batteries, and can even charge your phone. Two-way radios. Old-school walkie-talkies still work when cell towers are down. Communities use them to coordinate wildfire evacuations in California. Physical maps. GPS fails. Paper doesn't. Get local road maps and topo maps, and mark evacuation routes. Solar power banks. New models like Anchors can charge a phone in 2.5 hours of sunlight. Pair that with offline maps and stored guides, and your phone becomes a survival tool. The real pro move? Set up a neighborhood communication plan. Share contacts, meeting points, and updates. Communities with information networks bounce back faster. When the world gets dark, information becomes light. Don't underestimate it. The one mistake most people make. Here's the big one: people prepare by filling their pantries with food and water, but they forget resilience. They don't rotate supplies. They don't practice cooking without power. They don't talk to neighbors. They buy gear they've never tested. And when crisis hits, they find out the hard way that stuff isn't enough. Preparation is about knowledge, practice, and connection, not just storage. Final thoughts. I'm not saying the world ends tomorrow. But the cracks in our systems are real. And being prepared means the difference between panic and peace of mind. Start small. Grab one item from this list each week. In less than 2 months, you will be more prepared than 90% of people. And remember, real resilience isn't just about you. It's about community. Share what you've learned. Because when things get tough, we survive together. Every step you take towards self-sufficiency isn't just about surviving disaster. It's about gaining freedom in everyday life. And honestly, that's worth investing in. Stay safe out there.